still need to plan positively ahead. And apart from this appeal, which we believe will help us with the intervention that we need as of immediate, I think in the short term, we are going to provide resources also as Government of Kenya to support our farmers, so that whenever we get rain, the little we get, we must use it to produce. Part of the challenge we had is that for the last 3 years, we didn't bring sufficient support under the program we always had to support the production. But this year, we have already worked with the different teams and different groups to assess our requirements, even in the context of the challenges we have of fertilizer supply. We are working with suppliers so that the intervention we have made, which we made immediately I came into office, of the first 1.4 million bags of fertilizer to support our farmers to produce, we're going to provide in the coming month for the planting season in March and April. We're going to provide 6 million bags of fertilizer. We have factored in about 10 billion shillings to carry that through. We have also provided a facility of 15 billion shillings to support the importation of between 5 and 10 million bags of maize and other assorted foodstuffs, just to support the gap that we have already seen in our production. This year, our analysis is that we have produced 10 million less bags of maize, and we need to close that gap with imports. So already we are working with suppliers. We have already made the necessary arrangements to make sure that duties and taxes are waived so that we can bring food into the country by December. I want to be grateful on behalf of the Government of Kenya for you stepping forward as members of our society so that we can share in this burden together. To thank the media and all the other stakeholders for their contribution in all ways to raise the profile of the situation that is facing our country, and for consolidating our response to this situation. We are in a very precarious position. 20 counties are affected. Even the non-traditional ASAL counties are also affected, with all the way to 4.3 million people in ASAL and in other parts of the country affected by this drought. We are facing the 4th consecutive year of rain failure and crop failure. And as a result, we have a huge population of our country who do not have food. We have lost, as has been said here, about 2.5 million heads of livestock and so much wildlife as well. If you just quantify the livestock, we are talking about $1.5 billion in losses. And if you look at the communities where these losses have occurred, they are already very distressed communities. So losing $1.5 billion by already very poor people really puts them in a very dangerous spot. Yeah. Close to 1 million children are in distress with malnutrition. Many of them are marking absent in school. We have close to 140,000 mothers, pregnant mothers, lactating mothers, also suffering malnutrition. So we really have a situation in our hands. We have also undertaken that as an administration, we are going to change the Kazi Mtaani program to use the same people and the resources we have in that space to green our cities and to grow trees around Kenya. They will be part of the big army we are going to build so that at the end of the day, we don't end up with work that was done that has no trace or record. We've been on Kazi Kwa Vijana for a long time, but there is nothing to show for it. We want this time round, at least for those who are involved in Kazi Mtaani, we want them to say that we planted these trees, we greened this place, we changed the environment of our city, we changed the environment of our village, we changed the situation in our water catchment areas, in our national parks, in our forests, and all that. So again, I know some development partners have stepped forward to work with us under the Tree Growing Fund, and I look forward again to us working together in that space. We are flexible. I think the most efficient way of targeting support is through cash transfer. We are fully in support of that instrument. We also think that there are occasions where even with money, there is no food to buy. So sometimes it's also good to also make food available in these drought-stricken areas. And that's why we are working on a combination of cash transfer and actual food supply to these areas. And the coordination that has been provided under the office of the Deputy President to make sure that we are all working synergized, not in cross purposes, so that we can get value out of the resources that is available to us, I think has worked perfectly. And as he reports, at least 70% of the challenges that we have had are sorted out. We are working on the remaining portions so that we can make this response seamless, efficient, and effective. So, friends, I am taking this opportunity to request all of us to bend over backwards and see what we can do. Maybe it is necessary for me to say that as a government of Kenya, we really have to plan ahead of time. I think our response to this situation, we could have done a lot better. And I want to promise that going into the future, we're going to be better prepared to deal with this challenge, because all indications are that we are going to be in this space for a while. And therefore, it's going to cease to be an emergency. It really must now become part of our budget-making process for us to be able to undertake necessary responses in light of the predictions that are there of depressed rains in March, May, and we aren't sure of what will happen thereafter as we live the reality of climate change.